Sons and daughters, colleagues, veterans will all have a part to play, to build, to serve, and if necessary, to fight. And more families will know what sacrifice for our nation means. That's why it's so important that we do explain the changing threat and the need to stay ahead of it. While I've argued that Russia's campaign in Ukraine has so far been a strategic failure, with NATO bigger, more united, stronger, and spending increased amounts on rearmament, we should be under no illusions that Russia has a massive, increasingly technically sophisticated, and now highly combat experienced military. War is enormously costly. And I know I don't need to tell this audience that while the price of peace may be rising, the cost of strong deterrence is still far, far less than the cost of war.
To ensure peace, we must prepare for war. From this moment forward, the only mission of the newly restored Department of War is this: warfighting. Preparing for war and preparing to win. Unrelenting and uncompromising in that pursuit. Not because we want war, no one here wants war. But it's because we love peace. We love peace for our fellow citizens. They deserve peace, and they rightfully expect us to deliver it. Our number one job, of course, is to be strong so that we can prevent war in the first place. The president talks about it all the time. It's called peace through strength. And as history teaches us, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it.
The warning came from French General Fabien Mandon, Chief of the Defense Staff, standing here on the right, a close ally of President Macron. Earlier this week, General Mandon told local mayors that they need to start preparing for all eventualities, even loss of life in the case of a war.
If our country falters because it is not prepared to accept, let's be honest, to lose its children, if we are not ready for that, then we are at risk.
A message that left this local councillor reeling.
It was not the right time or place. It's just going to frighten people. Yes, we should plan ahead and recruit, but we're not going to go alarm our children.
For others, though, it's a sound warning.
It's a real concern for the future. So I think we do indeed need to prepare, and we also need to make it known to foreign countries that could attack us that we're ready.
It's not the first time that the general has taken a stand. He'd already told lawmakers that France needs to prepare for a war with Russia in the next 3 or 4 years, as Russia itself is preparing. Positions criticised this morning by part of the left.
I don't think it's the job of the Army Chief of Staff to go in front of elected officials and give that sort of speech, a speech I'd describe as political.
The centrist bloc, though, believes the general's warning is legitimate.
The job of the military is to enlighten us about the risks and prepare for the worst. So he's doing his job.
The message, in any case, is struggling to make inroads with the French public. The government, meanwhile, has published a guide for a crisis, such as an external aggression or natural catastrophe. Among other things, it advises the French to keep an emergency kit containing essentials like food, water and first aid, as well as a battery-powered radio.
Russia is preparing for a long war. In a move that locks the country into a permanent military footing, President Vladimir Putin has signed a sweeping decree ordering year-round conscription across 2026. For the first time in modern Russian history, the draft will run without pause from January 1 to December 31. The numbers are stark. The Kremlin has set a target of 261,000 men. aged 18 to 30 to be drafted into compulsory military service next year. This single decree replaces the traditional spring and autumn draft orders, signaling that Russia is no longer treating manpower as a seasonal requirement, but as a constant wartime necessity. Under the decree, draft officers will operate continuously. Summonses can be issued year-round. Medical examination, psychological screening, and draft commission hearings will no longer be limited to short windows. The message is clear. Military bureaucracy is being converted into a permanent mobilization machine. While conscription procedures will run all year, the dispatch of recruits to military units will still happen in 2 waves, from April to July and from October to December. At the same time, the decree orders the discharge of soldiers and non-commissioned officers whose compulsory service terms expire in 2026, keeping the manpower pipeline moving. Alongside this, Putin has signed a second decree activating Russia's mobilization human reserve. Reservists will be sent to special training assemblies to guard critical infrastructure and key civilian facilities. This internal militarization frees up professional forces for combat roles, even as Moscow insists this is not a new wave of mass mobilization. Coming after the autumn 2025 draft of 135,000 men, and amid reports of draft evasion, immigration, and battlefield losses, the 2026 plan marks a turning point. Russia is not signaling de-escalation. It is building a sustainable war economy of manpower, quietly preparing society for a conflict with no clear end.
A dramatic spread of U.S. military power is underway tonight, from the skies over Britain to the cold waters of the North Atlantic. Major U.S. Air Force assets are touched down in Britain in a stunning escalation of global tensions. Dozens of U.S. military aircraft, including heavy transport C-17 Globemasters and AC-130J Ghost Rider gunships, have landed at RAF bases in Suffolk and Gloucestershire in the past few days. Flight tracking and eyewitness reports confirm the surge of air power on British soil, marking one of the most intense movements of American forces in Europe in years.